So essentially, I assume that what will happen is you'll send the report that you send to DNR, that form, to the downstream collection treatment system.
Hey, Wayne, before you leave this, the public notification, though, is in effect now,
Yes,
correct?
yes. So you'll have until your CMOM is complete, there's a requirement that you have to notify the public. Presumably your CMOM will reflect what you're doing, or you'll modify that as you go along for the next few years.
And the same thing, I think, with reporting to New Water or Heart of the Valley, you're required to do that now.
Right.
And I'll talk about
Yes.
that a little. I have an example coming up.
How soon, like within 24 hours, how soon does it have to be posted into the paper? Or in the most local paper?
We didn't put a specific requirement in the rule, as that has to be 2 days, 3 days, whatever. And again, we'll leave that up to the individual agencies how best to do that. I mean, some people, Milwaukee Met, I think, posted on their website, like immediately when they know something is happening. So, there's different ways that you can do that.
Yeah, most newspapers, I've seen just the few recent ones that have come in. I think part of this requirement is if there's a big threat to public health or in a park, or that's where, I mean, I would hope that you would notify people right away. In other circumstances, maybe not so much. But a lot of newspapers now have e-news, and that's what I've seen, just little e-news, little things that go in there.
As I indicated earlier, there's all the systems, including the satellite systems, have to do the compliance maintenance annual report. What we changed here is we removed the point assessment for SSO occurrences, because large systems were concerned that they were being treated unfairly. A small system had one overflow, but a large system had one overflow. That's hardly fair. So we took the point assessment off of the CMAR reporting. This is for next year's report. But as part of that, the reporting entity has to report the action that they've taken in response to the overflow events. So that's an annual report in addition to the 5-day report that has to be submitted to the agency. And as I said, this is effective for the 2013 reporting year, which is the report that's due next summer, June.
By June.
Okay, I talked briefly about CCAP, System Evaluation and Capacity Assurance Plan. This is sort of like a facility plan for your collection system. For those of you familiar with facility plans that the department has required over the years. The department may require, again, that would be incorporated into a permit condition, a facility or collection system to do a CCAP if there has been non-compliance with the SSO prohibition. So if you've had SSOs or a lot of SSOs, the agency may come in and say, hey, you need to do something about this in a more broad context. If there are frequent recurring building backups, I talked about that before, effluent violations caused by excessive flow, this would be appropriate for the New Water, of course, are facilities that have both a collection system and a treatment facility. And if the CMOM implementation is deemed inadequate by the agency, that you're not doing what you said you were going to do, or it's not working to improve the system. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Jack. Again, CMOM, Capacity Management, Operation and Maintenance, the program or the documentation, if you will, of your CMOM is required 3 years after the rule's effective date, which will be August 1st of 2016. Unless there is an earlier requirement in the permit, and there may be a couple of permits like that, but I'm not aware of any. And there are some, of course, stipulations. Most of the satellites in Milwaukee are required by stipulation to complete their CMOM spice. I don't even remember what the date
Already
is.
done.
They're already done or whatever. And all systems must develop an implement program, including the satellite. So your satellite community, you have to do a CMOM for your collection system. And I'll turn it over to Jack. who's going
Any
to talk.
questions? And I should have said you could jump in if you had questions as you go.
Yeah, now's a good time for Dwayne on a lot of the SS rules themselves.
Are you going to cover the CCAP in any more detail later on?
Jack, are you going to?
I'm not. No.
It might be worth pointing out that when if a CCAP order requires that it may not necessarily be required of the entire system of the community. It could be specific to that overflow location. That's latitude that the department has.
Sub-basin, basin, that's particularly vulnerable or that has the problem.
I got to cover.
No other questions?
Oh, why don't you talk about, one thing is the reviewability of a CMOM versus a CCAP and approval.
Okay. The department, or the rules say that the agency will not review CMOM, so there's no approval required of the CMOM documentation itself. That'll be your responsibility to develop the CMOM as best you see fit, working with your consultant or in-house and whatever. As part of the department's oversight, if you will, of your permit, the CMOM has to be made available to the agency. The expectation is that, particularly if there are issues or problems associated with a particular collection system, people like Gary will look at the CMOM program as part of your inspection that would occur there. But the CCAP, on the other hand, like I said, is like a facility plan for a collection system. That is a reviewable document under DNR 110 of the Administrative Code. And so that would have to be submitted to the agency for approval. Okay. Go.
No other questions for Dwayne? If you do, you'll be
Yeah,
here.
I'll be, will be. I'm writing I can't be.
Well, we get to do CMOM. We're going to all have a CMOM done in this next hour. Isn't that great? No one's believing it.
Got an office.
I want to cover a couple things before we get going.
She wants people to see him.
Great. Wonderful.
Now what did you do?
Now, the other new change that's associated with the GP, this GP is the new SSO reporting form. And I do want to hand this out to everybody.
You have enough copies?
I don't know.
Gary can go make some, we'll just start.
I need one. I want to make sure I cover this today, because there are some new things on here. Someone else was involved in putting this together. Eventually, though, I want to let you all know that we're hoping at some point in the next few years to make this electronic. And it'd be electronic report. So you'd go in through switchboard, or we'll have to figure out exactly how that'll work. But the point is, it'll be electronic form at some point. Right now, though, it is a filling. So if you go to the website, it's in 3 different locations on our DNR website. It's a fill-in form, so you can fill it in, but unfortunately, then you can save it and send it to us as a PDF, or you can print it out and send it to us. Probably you'll print it out because it needs a signature.
It's a 24-hour report or 5 days?
This is a 5 days. But I want to talk about a couple changes here, so you're all aware of this. This is only for sanitary sewer overflows, and a treatment facility overflow. For the satellites, it's just going to be an SSO. For new water, it could be a TFO. But in that mix, there's blending and controlled diversions and bypasses. For the satellites, that doesn't concern you. And